I played softball, and then I was a pitcher, and it was underhand. I threw it up to myself and caught it, and I was like, all right, that's it for me.
Nailed it. I'm done.
Nailed it. I think I'm done with sports. I think I'll stick with the music.
I'm Adam, by the way, and this is all about you and your journey in music. And we'll talk about the new stuff you have coming out. I love the new single you just released, PTSD.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to release as much music as humanly possible in 2021. That's kind of my goal.
There you go. That's a good goal. I like that. Very cool. I did read from Rhode Island. Is that correct?
I am, yeah, the smallest state. Where are you from? Are you
I'm
from
from
Nashville or no?
I'm from San Diego, California.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've only, like, my family and I, we moved here like 6 months ago. So we're very new to the southeast.
I like it.
Yeah. So talk to me about Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is small. I feel like everyone knows everybody. But I've been here since I was 6, and it's just a good location because it's right in the middle of New York and Boston.
Mhm.
And then I've almost pulled the trigger on moving to LA so many times. I work with so many people out there, but it would just be hardcore downsizing and paying more. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can do so much online and travel whenever I need to. And then my fiance and I actually own an influencer marketing agency. So one of our like big goals for 2022 is to get like a content house in LA so we can have people that work for us, like they could work out of there, we can go there and stay whenever we want to, and then we can kind of be bi-coastal. So
I
fingers
love
crossed
that.
that can happen.
Yeah, I'd love to chat with you after this conversation about that company. That's really sounds really cool.
Sure.
And I would suggest San Diego. I've been told San Diego is the cooler younger brother of LA.
Really? Wow. Any less expensive?
You can find cheaper spots.
Yeah,
You're
LA is
commuting about a couple hours, but it's
yeah.
like I said, I've been told it's a cooler younger brother.
Right now we're not buying anything. The real estate market is just insane.
Oh, it's crazy. It is so crazy. But well, so Rod, you said you moved there when you were 6. Where were you
Yep.
born?
Yep, I was born in New York, and then my dad was actually a television news anchor, so we moved quite a
Wow.
bit. So we moved a little bit in New York, and then he got a job in Minnesota that he couldn't turn down. So we moved there for like 4 years from when I was like 2 to 6. And
Mhm.
then my parents are both from around here. My dad's from Boston, my mom's from New York. So this was like the perfect place when he got a job in Rhode Island, and we've kind of stayed ever since.
Is he still on TV?
He isn't. He stopped doing that maybe over 10 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
And he actually got into he started selling his grandmother's sherbet, and it was kind of like totally random going
Like
from TV to that, but he always wanted to start his own business with that, so he did it after he got off of TV. He did that for like 10 years, and now he is working as like a higher up at like any egg. It sounds so weird. Any eggs that you see in like any grocery store, they pretty much come from this farm.
Really?
Yeah, Hillendale Farm. So now he works there. Kind of
Wow.
a random
What an
course.
interesting journey he had.
I know,
Wow.
a little bit random, but
That's cool. Well, I know
yeah.
I came from radio, so I understand the whole moving around. You just go where you can get a job. I mean,
Yep.
it
My
is what it is.
grandfather was on radio, so I think that's kind of how my dad ended up kind of falling in love with the entertainment business and stuff like
Sure.
that. So
Well,
here
you
we
kind of
are.
fell suit, not in the same world, but as an
Yeah. No,
entertainer.
yeah, no one in my family is really that musical. My great grandfather came over from Italy, and he played oh trumpet for Percy Faith.
Really?
Yeah, so that's like the only like way down the line musical gene that I have. Otherwise, I feel like it's pretty athletic. I don't know if you saw my Instagram.
Oh
I
yeah,
go
I
somewhere
kind of
quite a bit with my brother
yeah, I
playing
kind of
the
creeped on your
game.
brother's Instagram too.
Did you?
You look so much like your mom. Like, he posted this Mother's Day picture of you all in the field, and I was like, oh my gosh, you look like a
Yeah,
spitting image of her.
yeah. I feel like I look very much like my mom, and he looks a lot like my dad. So me and my brother don't look at all alike.
Is he or because he's obviously a baseball player? Were you in sports at all, or are you focused a lot on music?
Yeah, I was really more focused on music. I played softball and then I was a pitcher and it was underhand. I threw it up to myself and caught it and I was like, all right, that's that's it for me. I'm
Nailed it. I'm done.
nailed it. I think I'm done with sports. I think I'll stick with the music.
Okay. Well, how did you get into music? Like, what drew you to it?
I I had always loved it when I was little, but I joined the church choir when I was in third grade, and I always tell this story how my friend sitting next to me like whispered as we were singing, like, "Hey, I think you should try out for the next solo. I can hear you, and I think you're pretty good." And I was like, "No, no, no, I'm way too nervous to do that."
Mhm.
And so when the choir director asked who wanted to do the solo, she raised my hand for me. And the lady was like, Olivia, come on up. And I was like, oh my God, shaking like a leaf. But ever since she pushed me to do that when I was literally in third grade, like I've loved performing. So kind of ever since then, I ended up going to college, but spent most of my time in my dorm writing songs. I didn't like drink, smoke, go out, party. The one time I went out to a party, I met my now fiance. So I guess it was good that I did a little
Wow.
partying.
Yeah. All
But
it took was one party, and you're
yeah, all
done.
it took was one party to find the guy. But yeah, I have just always had a love for it. But I think in college was when I was like, all right, I really want to do this like full time.
Were you going to school for music, or just something
I
totally different?
wasn't. My parents even told me like, "Look, we know you're on a different path. We know you're gonna be successful in whatever you do. You don't need to go to college if you don't want to." That's like not something normal parents tell their kids.
Sure.
And I was like, I know, but at the time I'm 18. All my friends are going to college. It feels like the right thing to do. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do it and see where it takes me. I was just a communication major. I was like, I can use that in anything that
Mhm. That's what I did.
is
You're like,
related.
huh, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yep. So I did that, and after college, I was like, I really just want to start releasing original music. So in 2017, I released my first single. And I had been working with like different labels all like throughout my college career, different companies, management companies, and nothing ever quite worked out the way I wanted it to. And then I got screwed in like my last deal. I had this big like label thing on the table and it was like, oh, work in progress for 6 months
Mhm.
and completely fell through and I was crushed. I was like, oh my God, like I thought that was gonna be my big break. And I was like, you know what? Let me just try to do this on my own and see how it goes. And that's what I did.
Hence
I
the name of your first record, right?
In my head was the name of my first single, and me and my fiance, we had a wall in our house and we were like, let's just think of any crazy marketing idea. When we think of it, we'll put a sticky note on the wall. And so we had a whole wall full of marketing ideas for this first single. And whether it was a good or bad or stupid or amazing idea, we tried it. And with
Mhm.
my first single, I got about 500,000 streams on Spotify. And I was like, okay, there's definitely something to this.
Oh, wow.
I didn't pay anyone to do this. I didn't, it was literally just from me marketing it myself and figuring things out, getting on Spotify playlists in exchange for me like giving them a shout out on my Instagram. And so I didn't pay anything to get to that point, and I was like, you know what, maybe there's something to this. So since then, I've followed up with a release just about every month. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's been like 4 years now.
Really? So you've released a new song every month for the past 4 years?
4 years. Yeah.
Because you have a record, right? The full record is DIY.
Yep. So I released like a more full project, but honestly, like I think releasing singles is just so key for, I mean, multiple reasons. I think people just like when an artist is consistent,
Mhm.
especially when you're on the come up. I think it's important to just like put out as much music as possible because you don't know which one's really gonna hit. So I've been doing that for a while.
Wow.
just releasing single after single after single. And I'm fortunate enough to have a space in my house as a recording studio. I have the photo backdrop. I can shoot
Yeah, I was gonna
my,
say,
all my cover art. I can do little performance videos. I love editing. I found like a new love for editing all of my videos and photos and stuff. So I've really like honed in on the full DIY, and can just pump out music that's quality and quick.
mhm.
So
Wow.
that's kind of what my MO has been for a
I
while.
love that. Well, it seems like we're in a world of singles, right? I mean, how many are, unless you're Taylor Swift, you're going to put a record out and
Yep,
somebody, a lot of people are going to buy it or stream the whole
yep,
album through.
yep.
But if you're a newer artist, a lot of people just can only take little bite-sized pieces of it. It's like, and then it's like you don't want to put a whole record out and then have half the songs on it get, kind of not
Exactly,
appreciated the same way.
exactly. I feel like if you release singles, I feel like I can put it out and people can focus on that one song and appreciate it for the time that it's the new release. And then, I can
Move on.
follow up with a new one and we can focus on that. So with with like a bigger project with an album, it's hard to focus on every single song. You end up having songs that are just like filler songs, and
Hmm.
I don't want to put out stuff that is just treated like a filler song.
An album cut, as they used to say. Just an
Exactly.
album cut. Well, okay, so you started writing quite a bit in college, but weren't you writing prior to that? Because in like
I was.
16 or so, you
Yep,
started?
yeah, I started really getting into it in college, but like 16 is probably when I started. So I ended up writing a jingle for this company, and then I think it was
Wow.
like mid-college career, wrote a social media campaign for the kid from Stranger Things, Caleb McLaughlin. He was doing this whole social media campaign about being your biggest fan, embracing your face. And literally, that's all I got to write it. Like the producer that I was working with, he was like, "Hey, I have this opportunity. We need it done yesterday. So you need to get it to me as soon as possible." And I was like, "Okay, well, what's the song about?" And he was like, "I don't know. Just look at Caleb's Instagram bio." And I'm like, "What?" So he had like 3 hashtags in his Instagram bio. It was like, "Be your biggest fan, embrace your face." I think there was one more. And I was like, okay, so clearly it's something about like self-empowerment,
Hmm.
self-esteem. So I went down that route and sent it over to him. I like quickly wrote and recorded it in like 30 minutes, sent him over just like a draft. He was like, "All right, cool. Yeah, I'll see what he says." And he's like, "All right, he already did the video with it. He's posting Monday." And I was like, "Whoa, I didn't even like do a full mix, master, nothing." He's like, "No,
Right.
no worries. He just wants to take it as it is and run with it." I was like, "Okay."
Whoa. And
Sure.
was he on Stranger Things at the time?
Yeah, yep.
Oh my. So that must have
That's
really
like,
got your name out there, I would
yeah, he's
assume,
like
right?
one of the main kids. So it was right when Stranger Things was like really on and popping with the first season, and so that was pretty cool.
That is huge. Well,
Yeah.
you said you wrote a jingle prior to that. Was that something like a world you were kind of dabbling in? Because it sounds like you're good at
A
writing just like little
a little
small
bit, yeah.
pieces.
I feel like I can write quickly when I have a very like focused topic. So if you're writing a jingle for a company, you know exactly what they're all about, what they're selling, and I feel like I can hone in on that. And even just with the hashtags, I could get enough from that to like put together a song. So I feel like that's my best work instead of like having to come up with certain concepts. Sometimes obviously it's just real life situations that I'm writing
Mhm.
about, so it's easy. But I feel like that's definitely a forte of mine that I like doing.
How did you get that first jingle? Was it something that you were
It,
working with somebody already or?
it was actually through like a family friend, and ended up being for like this company in San Francisco where they send it. It was way back when. So it was before like the days of Uber Eats and stuff like that. But it was
Okay.
essentially that kind of a company where you can
Sure.
send someone a kudo, and you know,
Like a Kudo bar? No, I'm
it-
just kidding.
kudo.
Remember those? Are
Yeah,
those still around?
congratulations. Here's, some sort of like a treat gift, and then it would like be sent with my song. I don't know. It's kind of
That's
crazy.
cool. That's really cool, actually.
Yep.
What a it sounds like you have so many very creative, like, marketing ideas.
I try. I feel like that, like, That's what's the most fun to me. Like, I have a lot of fun creating the music itself, but I'm actually like totally zoned in on the business aspect of it too. Like
Hmm.
marketing ideas just get me going like that. That's what I don't know. I have a lot of fun with trying to think of unique ways to get my music out there instead of just kind of what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Well, is your dad big into marketing? It sounds like he was able to make a company out of, your
Yeah.
grandma's what, sherbet or something? Like,
Yep, yep. He was able to do that for about a decade. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely into that. My mom is like a communicate. She actually just retired, but she was a communications director for. She was at a school, a hockey team, a zoo. Like her
oh
whole
wow.
career kind of went through
Uh-huh.
that. So I feel like
It's in the blood.
my mom is very creative. So I probably get those creative marketing ideas and juices from her.
Sure. So it wasn't until college that you released that first song?
Yeah, so back in 2017, so like right at the end of my college career.
Okay. And when did this whole like label crashing down situation happen?
Literally like a month before I released
Oh,
that
wow.
song, I had it ready to go kind of with them. And it was just like, never mind. After 6 months of going back and forth and negotiating a contract, it was like the strangest thing. I had my family over for like this big celebration of me signing this deal. Like it was so embarrassing. I was like, oh my God. And then as I'm literally sitting there eating dinner with my family, I get this email like, oh, they pulled it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, like
Oh
in the
my
middle of
gosh.
celebrating this whole thing. It was just like crushed me. But honestly, sometimes it takes something like that to have a little chip on your shoulder to, always kind of bring throughout your career to just give you that little extra kick in the butt. So I always
Yeah.
feel like, I mean, we're big New Englanders here, so we're Tom Brady fans, but he was like drafted in the 12th round and he always said,
Yeah.
like I had that chip on my shoulder that just, no one really thought I could do it. And now everyone's calling him the greatest of all time. So it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's good to have a little chip on your shoulder after things like that happen.
Yeah. I was gonna say it kind of went two ways for you, right? You could have just taken that as, well, this is not
Yeah.
gonna work. I'm done. I'm gonna give up and I'm gonna go into,
Yeah.
something to do with communications or whatever. But it sounds like you turned that around and was,
Yeah.
you're
I never
like, well,
I never had like that plan B. I always felt like if I had a plan B, it would distract me from my plan A. So there was never a time, even like after that, and being so embarrassed and crushed, that I was like, "Oh, I should just give up." Like that was never a thought in my mind. It was just okay. How are we going to move forward? How are we going to make this happen in a different way?
wow, that's very. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, not a lot of people, like I said, not a lot of people would do that. They would just be like, "Oh, well, I guess this isn't gonna work out."
Yeah,
And,
I think in anything, it's definitely, especially in the entertainment business, and I see it even just in my brother's business with sports, like you have to have a really thick skin. You can't let someone tell you that, tell you no and have that affect you and have you think that that's the only answer you can get.
sure, I mean, I can imagine baseball very, because there's a lot of guys that hang out in the minors forever, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
never
with
get
no
to.
real reason, like, and when they send you up and down, like you just can't let that kind of stuff get to you. You just have to do your best, and eventually it'll come back to you.
Sure, sure. And don't you do a song for him or something like when he
Yeah,
comes out? Like,
yeah.
tell me about that.
Um, when he was in college, he would always struggle with what he wanted to be his walkout song when he came to the mound to pitch.
Uh
And
huh.
so every year he would come to me for suggestions. He's like, Liv, what song should I do? Like, any cool songs you would suggest? And then we kind of started joking around, like, oh, what if I actually like wrote you your own walkout song so you wouldn't have to choose one every year? And so it's always kind of a joke. And then I saw on Jimmy Fallon, Derek Jeter was on the show, and the Roots created him a walkout song, and it was
Oh,
so dope. Like it was amazing. If you haven't seen it, you have to look up that episode because they killed it. And so I sent that video on YouTube to a producer friend of mine. And I was like, hey, I want to write my brother a walkout song. Can you make me a beat like this, like the Roots did for Derek Jeter? And he was like, yeah, sure. Let me work on it. So literally in a matter of like days, he sent me it, and I was like, you nailed it. And so I started writing to it, and I was like, this has to have some rap in there. Like, it has to be hard. It can't just be like your sister singing your walkout song and it's like, oh, la la la. It has to be something that gets you going. And
Right.
so I started writing a rap to it, and I'm like, all right, well, I can't rap this. Like, that's not gonna work. I can sing the chorus, I can sing the bridge and do, little backgrounds, but let me get a rapper on this. So I reached out to one of my rapper friends, Maystar from Boston, and I was like, I have this idea, don't judge me. I recorded the rap myself. This is like the flow and the lyrics that I want to go with. And he was like, dang, Liv, I didn't know you rap. I'm like, I don't. That's why I need you. But we got in the studio a couple weeks later and laid it down, filmed the music video as we were recording it in the studio. And I gave it to my brother for a Christmas present. And I just remember like we had the video all ready to go. So I like draped a blanket over the big TV at my parents' house. And I was like, all right, you have to come sit on the couch for your Christmas present. We like took the blanket off and played it. And he was like slapping my legs so hard. He's like, Cliff, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is the best song I've ever heard. I'm like, okay, that might start giving me a big head. But so he's used that ever since. And so that was just when he was playing college ball. Then when he got drafted, he used it all throughout the minors. And now it's like playing in Yankee Stadium, which is so crazy.
Oh my gosh. Have you heard it in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, I did for the first time on Easter Sunday, actually. My brother pitched on Easter Sunday. My whole family went to the game, and it played, and it's crazy. I actually just in the past like 2 weeks signed a deal with ESPN, and they're using it now like on ESPN. So
Really?
yeah, so
That is so awesome.
I don't know, it's like everything that I dreamt of as I was writing this song is happening, which is just so cool.
Congratulations. That's
The
massive.
epitome of success with this song is if we could eventually get on Jimmy Fallon and perform that song. That's like the pinnacle would be that. So
That is so cool. I don't see why it wouldn't happen.
try to
That's
speak it into existence. The more success
sure.
my brother has, it just keeps,
Yeah, it keeps going up and up and up. That's so amazing. And to have him come out to that in Yankee Stadium of all things, like in all places, like
and he actually all growing up was like a huge Yankee fan. So for him now playing for the team is just like I still
unreal.
can't even believe it. Like walking into Yankee Stadium and it's like my brother's playing. Like it's so strange. It's so strange.
Are you nervous for him when he goes up to pitch?
My mom gets super nervous, but I'm more just like excited and anxious. Like
Sure.
I have so much fun watching him pitch. I'm not so much nervous unless he gets into like a bad situation
Yeah.
which can happen, then maybe I'll get a little nervous, but honestly I'm just like excited.
That's cool. Do you guys go to a lot of the games?
We do. I mean, I'm only about 2.5 hours from
Mhm.
New York City, so that's another awesome thing is like he could be on any team, and he's a team that's a couple hour drive
Yeah, if he's in the East, yeah, it's close.
So with COVID all last year, it kind of stunk because that was like his first full year up
In the
in
pros.
yeah, in the major leagues. So that kind of stunk. It was like this whole year of him being there, and we couldn't even
Go.
actually, yeah,
Yeah.
be in the stadium. So this year we've gone quite a few times, and then yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy how this is all unfolded.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So aside from your brother not being able to, or not being able to see your brother pitch during COVID, like how did that affect you? Like were you doing something that was kind of shut down or
Mm,
not so much because you're so in-house?
yeah, that I was very fortunate to like have a studio all set up and had everything I needed to continue to pump out as much music as possible. I saw it more as like an opportunity that everyone was home now and they're on their phones and they're on their iPads and they're just on social media looking for entertainment. Like, I need to step up my game. That's when I like bought a green screen and had just really leveled up my whole Instagram game
Hmm.
and wanted to just entertain everyone that was going through it for the past year. So I pumped out, I think, more music than ever because I was home so much that I could do that, and just really focused on like connecting with the people that were following me. So I would do tons of live streams and have, supporters on there and chat with them for like an hour. And I don't know, it was just, it, I hate saying this because it was such a bad year for a lot of people, but it was honestly like one of the best years career wise for me, which
Yeah.
seems kind of crazy.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like you said, sometimes it happened where you could kind of capitalize on the situation, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
it is
But
what it is. And it was the same thing for us on our podcast, to be honest, as horrible as it sounds. But now everyone's home and nobody has anything to do. So they're like, yeah, sure, I'll chat with you. I'm sitting at home anyway.
exactly. It's like you just had to switch gears a little bit, and
Mhm.
it, you could make it work if you wanted to make it work last year.
Sure, sure, sure. Wow. Okay. So having a song release every month, you said, for the past 4 years, is this something that you have to kind of get ahead of? Like, do you have the next like 3 months of songs? Like,
I usually do. So I've been trying to finish up another one today to be my next one, because sometimes things happen where like, okay, I need to have a song for this project or with this distributor or whatever. So
mhm.
things can kind of get thrown around. So I like having like a big vault of songs that I can go to and be like, okay, this is the next one to release. I can quickly shoot the cover art right in like my home photo studio. I can shoot a little performance video and crank it out. So I I usually have a decent vault of songs to go to.
That's good. So all the photos that you use as your single covers, those are all done what on that behind you? Are a lot of them?
I would say 95%, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I just edit the crap out of them. I use a green screen, sometimes I use different color photo backdrops. I My fiance, for like one of my birthdays maybe 5 years ago, he saw that I was paying so many photographers and videographers to do my content for me, and he knew that I loved doing that kind of stuff, but I didn't have a really good camera. So for one of my birthdays, he's kind of splurged and got me a really good camera. So ever since then, I've probably saved a ton of money by him investing in that one camera.
That's nice. That's really nice. And was something like video editing and Photoshop and all that, was that something that you started to get more into during this pandemic, or was
I
it something you
actually
already did?
You're spot on with that. Like, I really tried to step up my game. I would watch YouTube videos and tutorials on how to do everything from green screen editing to creating filters for myself on Instagram. Like, I really tried to hone in on all of that stuff so I could be full on DIY. I don't know if it's a bad trait of mine, but I don't like relying on other people, and maybe that's just me being jaded from things happening in the past where things fall through. But I just like to kind of be in control and be like, okay, if I want to release a song next month, I can crank everything out on my own,
Mhm.
essentially for free.
Sure, sure. So PTSD is the most recent song,
Yeah.
and that came out for this month. Do you have one lined up, obviously, for July? Or I mean, August?
I do. That's the one I'm trying to finish up today. I had one that was completely ready to go, and then I got this opportunity with this TV show, and they're looking like, have you ever heard of the show Eurovision?
Yeah, there's like no, what's funny is there's I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix. There's like a mock version of it that Will Ferrell is on. It's like a movie, and Will
I
Ferrell
have seen
stars
it.
in it. Yeah, I forgot who else is with him. It's Will Ferrell and somebody else, but yeah.
I should watch it, but essentially, like, this show is coming to the US. Like, it's always been in Europe
Oh
and
yeah, it's coming to the
never
really.
come to the US. I don't think I signed an NDA or anything. I'm trying to like backtrack and think. I don't think so. I won't say the exact name of the show, I guess. But essentially, they like have a rep from each state, and you sing an original song of yours and compete against all other 50 states. So I don't think I'll have to beat out too many people in the state of Rhode Island if that's the one they have me rep because it's so small.
Uh-huh. But then
But
you go against everybody from the whole country, so there'll be
yeah,
50 people that go into
yeah,
going against each other.
pitching their original songs, and you can't have it be a song that you've already released, or you'll have to re-release it through them. So that's just kind of a pain. So I had this song that I've been sitting on, and I've been like super excited about it. I was really excited to release it like next month. And then when they came in, I'm like, oh, this could be the perfect one for that. So
Right.
I'm gonna like hold off on releasing that one just to have that in my back pocket in case everything goes through with the show. So to be
That's
determined.
cool. That's really cool. I look forward to seeing that. And that's rad that they're doing that. But you should go watch it's on Netflix. It's called Eurovision. And it's got Will Ferrell. It's like a mock of the whole thing.
Oh my god, yeah. I guess like I didn't even know this. Like Celine Dion's got like her start on that show or something. I didn't even. I've obviously never watched it because it was like a European show, but
I had never heard of it until the movie came out. And then
really,
I was listening to another podcast, and Jim Jeffries, this comedian from Australia, he was on the podcast and he was talking about it. And he said like that was everyone was trashing that movie, and he said it was like the funniest movie he thought he saw and like in the past, like over like COVID or whatever.
watch
And
it.
he was like, but it's probably because I used to watch Eurovision growing up, but we didn't have access to it. So
No,
but you should watch it.
I
I'm
gotta
sure
watch
it's
it now.
funny. And then you were also on TV, right? You did The Voice.
I did. I got through 2 rounds, and there are like a lot of rounds before you actually get in front of like the television judges. So that's
Oh, got you.
something that people don't know. You think like you're just going and performing right in front of those judges, but you're performing for like producers of the show first. So that was honestly like a really cool experience though. I had auditioned for American Idol back when I was like 16, right when I could audition. And
Oh, did you stand in line and all that fun stuff?
oh yeah, in the
What
rain.
was that like? Oh
It
my.
was it was horrendous. Like the rain was coming sideways, and we're like started
Oh,
standing there at like 4 in the morning. It was brutal at Gillette Stadium, and I just knew I was screwed when the two kids in front of me went. They were twins, and they like had the whole package. Like their voices
uh,
were incredible. They harmonized. They were dancing. The way they were dressed, like they just like looked like the epitome of star to me, at least.
right.
And all they said to them was, "Sorry, it's a no." And I was like, "Shit." And then I look over, and the guy that was horrendous singing in a green tutu and a Burger King crown, they were like, "Yep, go through to the next round." I was like, "Oh no, I'm screwed. I'm screwed."
Oh yeah. It's so that's that because they need those people for the like blooper reel stuff.
Oh, 100%. But with the voice, like even in the application to audition, it says if you're not serious, do not come. Like that's not
If you show up wearing a Burger King crown, we will send you away.
like that's not their stick. They're really looking for people who want to take it seriously. So I was like, all right, this is probably more up my alley. So
Uh-huh.
I auditioned for that. I think I was 19. And got through to the next round. You start with auditioning for the producers of the show, and then you go through to the next round, and you go to New York City, and it's like rehearsal studio spaces, and you go in there and you perform for a camera, and there are a couple people like sitting behind it, and then they're like, all right, if you get through to what would be like the official voice, like we'll give you a call. I never got that call back.
Uh,
So whatever.
it's all good. You're doing bigger things.
That's the thing, like, everything definitely happens for a reason. It's
Sure.
hard. Some of those shows can lock you in for a long time, even if you're not the winner. So
Hmm.
I've heard horror stories of people being locked into American Idol for like 5 years and they haven't been able to release music and they weren't even the winner. And
Right, I've heard
like,
that too. And
oh
like, I mean, just because you make it on to, Shakira's team or something, that doesn't mean anything, right? And when you get booted, it's
yeah,
not like you're leaving with this like perfect record of
yeah.
hits. So
It's kind of a crapshoot, but I mean,
yeah.
I would probably do it again, like if in maybe 5 years when I'm older, things
Hmm.
haven't hit the way I want them to, and that could be like a fast track. But for now, I've been like turning down opportunities like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you found your lane that's not involved with The Voice or American Idol, you know what I mean?
I'm open to other TV shows. It's just kind of all about the terms that come with it.
American Vision or whatever they're gonna call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, the American Eurovision.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Olivia, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I had a lot of fun. I love doing stuff like this.
Awesome. I do have one more question for you. I want
Okay.
to know if you have advice for aspiring artists.
My number one piece of advice is always like I preach consistency and I don't just preach it. Like I definitely practice what I preach. I try like I am posting every day on my social media. There's no reason why you can't. It's so accessible to everyone. And in order to do that, I usually film all of my stuff for the week in one day. So it's like, okay, I don't need to get ready every day and film new content. It's just like, okay, let me crank this out on this one day. I'll have content to post for the week. I have an alarm set on my phone, like, okay, it's time to post so I don't forget. Like, I just think consistency is so key. Honestly, in anything you do, but especially in today's day and age where people just like want more, want more, want more. It's something that you have to do, I think, to be successful.
Bringing it backward.